Welcome to Magical Monday Live. I'm sorry that I had the wrong date for this event, but because I kind of promoted it a little bit, I'm still going to do it today. I will post the replay on the date that was on the event. So welcome. Today we're going to talk about sigils, and I'm going to answer the questions that you guys submitted in the Google Forms. So welcome. So I'm just going to start off by talking about what a sigil even is. So a sigil is pretty much a personal symbol. It's a symbol that is used in magic. Now, it used to be primarily used in ceremonial magic, like, especially like summoning things, like people who, hi Casey, people who like summon demons or, just like the ceremonial magic stuff. Hi Susan, yay. But, and like it was hard to kind of find information on creating your own sigils, like in the 90s, and now it is everywhere. People pay money for people to make sigils for them. You literally see it everywhere. So we have the established sigils, like that you see in the Lesser Key of Solomon. And if you just Google sigils and you click on Google Images, you will find these like circular symbols with all these different lines, and those are just pretty much set in stone sorts of sigils. But what we're going to do today is talk about creating your own personal sigils. Now there are kind of like two ways that you can do it. You can take something that's already been created, like especially like people, like I said, people are paying people to make sigils for them, or you might see like a meme that is, let me bring this over so make sure you guys can hear me better, sorry. But you might see a meme that has a sigil in it, and it says something like, this is a sigil for happiness, a sigil for healing, a sigil for, whatever it is. So the idea behind that is very similar to the idea behind traditional sigils. So when we interact with a pattern, with a sigil, with something that other people have used, then we get to tap into not only the energy of that sigil or symbol or whatever, saying, association. We're not only tapping into that the way that we see it, we're also tapping into the energy of everybody else that's ever done it. That's why in Wiccan ritual, we see like a lot of the four elements, like earth is north and fire is south. There are very like specific associations. So when you do acknowledge them, hi Carrie, when you do acknowledge them and you are calling your quarters, you're performing the ritual magic that needs to happen, but you're also kind of tapping into the egregore of energy of all of the people who have called that quarter in a similar way. All right, so that sort of concept kind of comes down to sigils too. So we can see these sigils, and we'll talk about charging and things like that, but the idea is that people see the sigil over and over again, like, just like a meme, everybody's saying it, there's a million eyeballs on it, and that in itself kind of charges the sigil. So that and like traditional sigils, things that you don't make yourself, they're still worthy, and they're still, they still have a place, I guess, in practice. Now, personally, it's hard for me, if it wasn't something that has been around for ages, I don't know that I would take a sigil that somebody created on the internet saying that it's for love or peace or healing or whatever, and just like blindly use it in my practice. Only because I don't know. It might not be. It might not be. Or it might not be the type of healing I'm looking for, because healing is very, there are tons of different kinds of healing. There is physical healing and mental healing and spiritual healing and emotional healing. So if I'm looking for something for physical healing, to do a working for somebody, and a sigil comes across that says, this is a sigil for healing, and maybe that's for emotional healing, and the only person that will know that is the person who created it. Okay, but you can create your own sigils, and we're going to talk sigils. That is a hard one to say over and over again. Sigils. So we're going to talk about how to create our own sigils today. Now, the creation of a sigil can be a magical act in itself. So the actual creation of it, you can sit down, you can do it in a ritual setting, you can do it not in a ritual setting if ritual isn't your jam. But you can do it very intentionally in a container that is obvious that this is the magic. You are making the magic by making the sigil. Or you can make the sigil and charge it, or add it to a candle, add it to a like medicine bag or an amulet, you know, or a piece of jewelry. There are tons of ways that you can incorporate sigils, right? So you can make the sigil creation in the magical act, or you can use it in a separate magical act, or both of those things. It's up to you. So, alrighty. So there are two common ways to create sigils, and I will show you. Let me grab a pen and get comfortable. All right, so let me switch to this. We're just going to start out. Most of these sigils start out, give it a second to focus. Come on, friend. Most of these sigils start with a sentence. Let me see if it'll focus a little better. It literally was fine a second ago. Okay, let's just go there. That's probably as good as it's going to get. So for my sentence today, I chose, I will be employed in my dream job. And when you create your intentional statement, and I go over this in my one-on-one or my group program, but we talk about making sure that there is no blowback. We talk about considering consequences, you know, because if I just said I will be employed, like I want a new job, that could mean anything, and we don't want to open it up to everything, but we don't want to like limit ourselves. So this is just kind of just a quick example. A lot of people say I am employed in my dream job, or I am instead of I will. It's up to you. So the first step after you create a sentence is to remove all of the vowels and all of the letters that are doubled, right? So I would take out this I, this L, this E, this E. So you kind of get the picture, right? I'm going to keep that Y, because why not? So yeah, so you get rid of these, you get rid of all the double letters, all of the vowels. And then you end up with this. Okay, that's a lot of letters. And I hope I don't have double letters in there. Okay, so what you do, okay, so there are two ways, and both of them start with this. This is the beginning of both of them. And these are the letters that we're going to work with. Hi, Caroline. I'm glad you're here. So the first one is you basically create a symbol using these letters. Now, this symbol can be as beautiful or as functional. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can make it a huge symbol. You can make it a tight symbol. If you are going to use it in something else, like candle magic, or you want to put it on your wall, or you want to do something awesome with it. If you wanted to put it on a poster board, you might want to make a bigger one. If you want to put it on a candle, you might want to make a tighter one. It's up to you. And basically, it really is, you just kind of put all of these letters together. I'm like backwards, like here's me, so it's all upside down for me. Excuse me. So I'm going to do my very best to just come up with something really quickly. If you have any questions, you can always type them in the comment box. So we'll just start with, and they don't have to be like straight up and down. So if I wanted to start with a W, straight, like, we'll start with that, right? W. And we can like add an L. I can add a B here. You see, like, it doesn't have to like look. The idea is you don't want it to look like the sentence when you're done. You are creating kind of an abstract symbol. An M, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to be crazy, and I'm just going to do my W backwards. P, well, P is actually already in there, because we've got the P right here. So I can add it again if I like. Boop. I don't have to if I don't want to. A Y. I can just extend this. D. We've got a D. But what I can do is do another D like this. There's a D. An N. At this point, I'm like, it gets a little bit difficult. Let's just do an N, R, and a J. That's all that I have left. So I'm going to do R like this, and I will do a J like this. Okay? So there we go. This is a sigil. That is, I will be employed in my dream job. Now, is this the most beautiful symbol I've ever made? No. But you kind of see like the concept behind that, right? Okay. It's pretty easy. The other way to create a sigil sorry. Okay, the other way to do it is using this sort of thing called a sigil wheel. There are also sigil squares. Oh, and by the way, if you had a number, you could just put your number in here too. So if you wanted to do something in 7 days, 3 days, etc., you could just add your number as part. There's a 3. There's a 3 added right here. You know, you can just add the number as part of your sigil that you just created. Okay. All right, that being said, I'm going to keep this because we're still going to use this. But I wanted to show you a couple different sigil wheels. So this is a sigil wheel. You might see, if you haven't seen this before, you may have seen something like this before. Now, it's very similar. I don't know, there isn't like one right sort of sigil map, I guess. Maybe I'll call them sigil maps. That sounds like it should be a thing. So there isn't just like one specific sigil map that is better than the others. Okay, this is just, these are several different kinds. You see them often. I think I mostly see this one. I like the circle one because I just like the circle one because I feel more drawn to it. So if you want to sit down, and I'll show you how to use this, but if you want to sit down and you're trying to decide which one that would work best for what you're doing, just check in with your body, look at them, and see if you feel drawn to one over the other. If you don't, you can always put your hand over it and see if you feel like drawn physically, if you feel a buzzing in your palm. You know, just kind of like ask the universe or your spirit or your higher self like to help you choose, and then just place your hand over it with a like heart of like openness and receptiveness, and see what calls to you. If you have a buzzing in your hand, if you feel hot versus cold, etc., if you feel anything, just allow yourself to interpret that as your intuition, and you can choose your sigil map that way. Alrighty. So, let me grab another piece of paper. Let's use this one. Let's use that one today. Okay. And I've used all of them. I don't think it really matters. Whatever works for you. Okay. So we'll use this guy right here. So I'm just going to put our letters down again so that you remember what they are. And what I will do is I'm going to cut this piece of paper in half so that you're able to see the letters and the sigil that we're going to create. Now, again, it's up to you on whatever way you like to do this. I suggest that you experiment. You know, try both ways. Try the letter creation way. Try this way. The one cool thing about creating them, I guess I should do this though. Creating them with the letters is that you get to use your creativity. You know, this other one is more cut and dry, black and white. I mean, obviously you're putting your personal power into it as you're drawing it, because literally, like your body is magic, right? Because we have the air that we breathe and the water that's in our body, and we have the fire that is like the spark. We have literally the earth that literally is our body that we're walking around in. So we have magic in our body. And we're using that magic to move this pen to create something on the physical plane. That's why, you know, for the same reason you could make writing a sacred act. When we write down our intentions, yeah, we're writing our intentions, but we are the magic, right? So this one I like because you get to, you're using more, I feel like there might be more energy that gets put into this because you're focused more on it. That doesn't mean using a sigil map is bad. That doesn't mean that at all. It's just whatever you want. If you are a person who is not an experimenter, who would rather like get something out of a book because you know it's right, or you know you're kind of like nervous about making your first sigil or something, just start with something like this and then move on to something like that. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to place this over this. And I know you may not be able to see it super well. I'm going to like go down more. See if I can't make this work. Okay. Alrighty, so as you can see, first of all, if you have there's like a Lightbox app that you can get for your phone or for your tablet. I'm wondering now if I could have gotten that for my tablet so it would be better. But if you have a Lightbox app, basically what that is it just shows like a white screen, and you can set it up so it doesn't go dark. You know how your phone goes dark after however many seconds? You know, whenever I'm trying to do this, it's never long enough. But they have apps called Lightbox apps, and what it does is it illuminates the back of this so the letters are much easier to see. But unfortunately, I did not have, I was not able to make that happen today. But we're going to use the exact same letters, our W, L, B, etc., and we're just going to use this as a grid. And you can see here, also we have numbers up here. One of the questions that I got was, how do you incorporate numbers into your sigil? Boom. And like the other one, you can just add it here. With a sigil wheel like this, that might be a little more complicated. You could add another circle around it and number it if you like. I did not find a wheel with numbers. Or you could see here, this also has numbers, right? Okay. Alrighty. Going back to this. Oops, yes. A lot of these favorite, sorry, y'all. All right, so we're going to keep these letters, and we're just going to continue to work with that. Let me just scroll down. Okay, perfect. Now, when you do a sigil like this, this tends to be a you don't pick your pen up sort of thing. Like with the other one that we made, with this guy right here, like you can pick your pen up, you can move it around. I want to put an R here, and I want to put an M over here, and I want to do this. But with these sigils, it tends to be, let me move this a little bit with me so I can scooch over a little bit better. Or not. My camera does not feel like cooperating. So you kind of, honestly, I'm not sure that it matters, but there is a school of thought out there that you don't want to pick your pen up. All right, so you want to start with the letter that you're starting with. So this is a W right here, and you start with a circle and you end with a line. So if you've seen sigils like that, that's what that's all about. So we're going to start with a circle here on W. And then we're going to go to L, and L is right here. So I'm just going to simply draw a line to the L box. And then from there, I'm going to draw a line to the B box. I'm picking up my pen so you guys can see what I'm doing. Then to the M, then to the P. And you can curve it, you can make it straight. I know you've probably seen some that have circles. It's up to you on like the direction you want to go. Some people don't like to cross their lines. Some people, they don't want that cross. Honestly, there really isn't like one perfectly superb way to do sigils. A lot of it is personal, and a lot of it has to do with how you feel about things. So that's why your intuition is important. And if you are like, well, I don't trust my intuition, well, that's okay. Like everybody goes through that. Just ask yourself which is better, and just feel into it. See which one feels better. If you feel tense, or like if you're like, okay, well, I don't want to use this wheel. Should I use this wheel? And you feel tense, and how should I use the squares? And you feel more relaxed. That right there. Like if you're thinking if you're overthinking it and you're like, oh my gosh, my intuition, I don't know what to choose, I don't know what's right, you know, you can also pay attention to your body. When you think about these things, are you more contracted or are you more open, right? Because if you're more open, that's probably the one that you want to choose. Okay, all right. Back to this. I am on P. And then I'm going to go to Y, up to D, N, R, and J. So I'm going to go to N, over to R, and where's J? Okay, so J is all the way over here, right? It's the same thing. So I could, like, I don't want to, like, go back over the line I already did, just because I don't want to do that. I don't feel like that is what I want. Like, I don't feel like that's right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle this around, and I'm going to come down to J, and J is my last one, so I'm going to end that one with a line. Okay? You start with a circle, and you just follow, boop, follow the letters, you end with a line. And there you go. So these are two very different sigils. I'll do one more. Let me do one more. Let's do one more with the other square. Just because the wheel is a little bit too unwieldy. So let's bring this back down. Actually, let's just do this. Let's fold this guy, and then we'll do the same thing. Put him back. There we go. There are our letters that we are working on. There we go. All right. So again, I'm going to take my piece of paper. I'm going to set it right over there. And we're going to do the same thing. Now you see these squares are bigger. And you can see like how, do you see how it's not like one on the other one? This is like one letter per square. Well, this guy right here has more than, well, there we go, more than one letter per square. So when you are tracing the actual sigil, you might want to try to hit that letter exactly. Okay? I am not very good at art, so please excuse anything that, move my keyboard, that, yeah, just be kind to me. And you can see also, these are not like in actual order either. So I'm just gonna try to do this upside down. Again, we're going to start with the W. And if you guys have any questions, just post them in the comments and I'll answer them. So again, we're gonna start with a circle over where the W is. And then we're going to go to L, which is here, L, then B, which is down here, B, M, which is right here, M, P, which is over here, Y, D, oh, Y is right there, that's easy, Y, D is over here. Again, I like don't want to just make that line be so close, so I'm just going to take it all the way around to D, N, where is N? Is that N? N, R, and then J. So there's J, R is down here, so I'm going to go down, straight down to R, and then up to J, and then I'm going to end with a okay? That means line. All right, so you can see we have created 3 different sigils today for the statement, I will be employed in my dream job. Okay? That was it. That was, to begin, just in case anybody's coming on a little late, we started with our really, like, strong intention statement. We crossed off the vowels and the consonants that are repeated. I kept Y because I like adding Y, especially if I'm doing a more creative sigil. And then we like list those letters out separately. So using these letters and this intention, we then created this sigil. This is like a freehand sigil, let's say. And then we, using 2 different sigil maps, we created this guy. And then we created this guy, right? So we have 3 different kinds of sigils that we created today. All right. You guys understand that? Does that make sense to you? Again, if you wanted to incorporate numbers, you could choose a wheel or a map, I guess, with a number on it, like this one and this one both had numbers on it. This cool wheel does not. And you know what? I'll upload these. I'll upload these guys to the group, so you'll be able to see, so you'll be able to get them and print them out for yourself. So I'll upload a PDF file, so you'll be able to start making your sigils right now as soon as you're done, if you want to. All right. So again, you can choose a map that has a number on it, or just add a number to your freehand sigil. Now, once you create your sigil, right? I'm just gonna leave these up there. Once you create your sigil, like traditionally, and by traditionally, I mean, when I first came into the craft, this is basically what people would do, is they would charge it with their energy, and then they would destroy it and forget it. That was the thing. Like, you like burn it into your brain, and then you just like put it out of your mind, and that's how it works. Okay, so it's kind of like, you know, like when you do a spell of some sort and you are raising your energy, and you raise all the energy and you like release that energy towards your goal, and then you just like ground and center, and then it's done. You might not want to talk about it. It's kind of that concept, right? So you are charging it, like basically like burning it into your brain, putting all that energy into it, and then forgetting it, burning it if you like, and then forgetting about it. So you would destroy it like it never happened, because the idea is that energy is already working for you. Okay. Nowadays, people just use this symbol just like any other symbol would be used. So you could put it on a candle, like I mentioned, I think at the beginning, inside an amulet bag. If it's a healing, you could do a healing sigil, put it inside of a poppet. You could digitize it, make the background of your cell phone. You know, there are all kinds of different things that you could do. You're just basically acting as if it is a regular symbol. Another question I got was, do you always have to burn it? No, you don't always have to burn it. And like I said, you could shrink it down, or leave it as is and fold it up small, put it in something, put it in a spell bottle, you know, just use it how you would any symbol. It's just a symbol that is personal to you, that you literally created out of your intention statement. So you can kind of see why people feel like sigils are super powerful, because you just took your intentions and you like created something with your intention. So it wasn't like you just had this intention, like, oh, I just had this intention. No, you had this intention, and you created magic. You did a magical act to get that on paper. Now, like I said, you can use it in a lot of different ways. When you charge it, so if you're new to the craft, charging basically means you're putting energy into something. So with this, it would probably be some of your personal energy, not too much, because you don't want to like run out of your personal energy. I think I'll probably do a training just about charging and energy if I haven't done one already. I'll have to check. I feel like I've made a lot of videos. Sorry, guys. But, you know, you want to put energy into this. And same thing if you're doing and also, here's the thing. If also you are using this in a spell, I also suggest that you state your intention aloud, right? So if you're creating a spell bottle or a candle or pop it or something else, like you created this and then you're going to use it in something else, I also suggest that you go back to your intention statement and you say your intention statement. Now, a lot of people struggle with saying things out loud, especially when you start in the craft, because number one, it's very weird to say things out loud to an empty room. I was going to put it out there. Like, when I first started and I was solitary, I said everything in my mind, because part of it was that I shared a room with my younger sister in a house with my parents. I didn't have any like personal space. That was just mine, right? But honestly, I think the first time I ever actually said out loud the intentions or said out loud ritual stuff, was I was in a coven. The high priestess wasn't there. This is years and years before now. This is in the early 2000s, right? So I was in a coven for a short amount of time as the maiden. So I kind of backed up the high priestess, and she wasn't able to be there at a ritual. And instead of canceling it, because we had people driving like 2 hours to get there, she just it didn't work out. She didn't really work out as a high priestess, but like she just was like, we were all gathered, and she's just like sent her husband to tell us to cancel it. But I did not want to do that because people came. I didn't mean to turn this into story time, but it's story time. And so I had to do the ritual. Like, I had the ritual, and I had to do it. And that was the first time I ever said anything out loud. And I will tell you, it was scary, but it was also very empowering to hear your voice, especially as women. State out loud exactly what you want is very powerful. And it's something you control. And it's something you can use to raise and lower energy. So it's very empowering. And I always like to talk about stating things out loud, because when we state things out loud with our body, like, you're literally using your breath, which is air, your saliva, which is like spit, which is water. Both of those things are true. Your mouth, your like head, which is earth, and fire, which is like the spark that is creating the words that are coming out of your mouth. So when you say things out loud, you are like evoking all of the 4 elements just by saying words out loud. So that's also very powerful. Okay. Also, it's very empowering to do that. And I think that I should not like go off on a tangent real quick, but like think about it, like how people say like talking to yourself, you're crazy, or people look down on themselves for like, number one, if you're saying something to nobody, and number two, like for just like speaking your truth. Like I think a lot of us have gotten like either shamed or belittled or made to feel small when we say what we want. Now when we do these sigils, like we are basically saying what we want to happen. So don't be afraid to say that out loud, and don't be afraid to like say that in art, because these also kind of like are a type of art as well. Okay? All right. Well, that was a tangent. Sorry. And then one last question I got was, you like story time? I have a lot of stories. I should just come on and be like, story time live. Let me tell you some stories, because boy, I am looking forward to writing my memoir. I'll tell you that much. Somebody else asked me about like recommendations of other resources, and unfortunately, like I have never really needed to like go deep and find resources on sigils, just because I've been making sigils for a while. I never, I kind of know the history. It's pretty simple. It's pretty self-explanatory as it is, but if you search it on Wikipedia, that it will talk to you about some historical symbols, some historical sigils, and it has like some really interesting like sources, because you can always scroll down to the bottom of the Wikipedia page. Anybody can add to a Wikipedia page. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a story time. I'll do a story time live, and I'll share stories at some point, because my goodness, when you've been doing it for a long time, I have mistake stories. I have all kinds of stories. Anyway, back to what I was saying. If you scroll down to the very bottom of a Wikipedia page, they have the footnotes, they have the sources. You can always go there. To kind of find more sources. So if you go to like probably the witchcraft page or the Wicca page, Wikipedia, that's kind of funny. I know there's a book called that, but that made me laugh today. If you scroll all the way down, there's always some sources at the bottom. Now, are all of those sources going to be good sources? Maybe, maybe not. But, it's somewhere to start. It's always good to start. Oh, that's cool. See? Carrie, if you know what the name of that book is and you want to, like, plug that into the comments, maybe somebody who wants more information can go ahead and look that up, because that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think I have any books just on creating sigils. I know that they're out there. People are really into sigils right now, which is pretty awesome. I I haven't really read any, and I don't want to like recommend things without reading them or getting a really solid recommendation from one of my spiritual sisters. So I don't have any recommendations except to go to Wikipedia and look at the bottom and, you know, find some sources there. So if there aren't any other questions, I will let you ladies go. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to kind of go through, I know a while ago I asked like what would anybody be interested in learning about. I have to go through those again to set up some more of these Monday live trainings. And then I'll do some, you know, practical sigil magic. Well, there you go. Carrie's got a recommendation for you. So I'll probably do a story time or something like that, just for fun, because why not? And that's it. So again, if you have any questions, if you're watching this on the replay and you have a question, go ahead and write it in the comments. Or if you have any comments, you can also write those in the comments. And that's it. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.